Hey gamers, welcome back to another DSP video. Since it is 2025, I want to discuss DSP's 2024. Was it a good year? Was it a bad year? What kind of year was it for the guy? When you look at all the stuff that happened in 2024, it is quite a year. It wasn't one way or the other. It wasn't all the way negative or all the way positive, but it was a very, I would call it a superficial year for DSP, where it was him just panicking and throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. Because we start the year of 2024 with him announcing he's going to do these grandiose projects, such as the Mike Klum documentary. As he was describing it, people already knew he's going to back out. There's no way he's going to take time off to film a documentary. And the way that he described the Mike Klum documentary, he would have been so super involved in it. Like, to the point where it was impossible to see DSP do anything for this documentary. Like, they were gonna have his parents be involved with it, which Timmy already told me, yeah, he's not doing this. Like, I don't think we'll ever get a documentary of DSP with his parents involved, no matter what. Like, there's no way that's gonna happen. So that already told me, yeah, he's not doing this. And despite everyone saying that to him, he kept assuring us, he's gonna do it, guys. He's gonna do it. A few days later, he cancels. He backs out. Now, of course, in typical DSP fashion, he can't just say no or anything like that. He has to kind of soft cancel. He has to, like, leave the door of possibility open, but saying no right now, basically. Like, he won't say no, I'll never do it, it's canceled. He has to say, well, not right now. As of now, it's on hiatus. It's on an indefinite hold or whatever. And he said it was because of streaming conflicts, because he needs to stream to make money, uh, family reasons, personal reasons, etc., etc. And I was just thinking to myself, what would this documentary be? Because I don't know much about Boogie's content, so I'm a little ignorant on Boogie, to be honest. But I feel to some degree, Boogie at least has more of a social life than DSP, because in that documentary, from what I've seen clips of it. He went to a Magic the Gathering kind of place, and he played Magic with people. They showed him do that. He talked about other stuff, this and that. Like, he had stuff to do, basically. Uh, versus, what does DSP do? He just stays at home with his wife, and he goes to the supermarket and appointments. Like, there's nothing else he does that's interesting. He has no hobbies. He doesn't watch anything interesting. He doesn't really do anything. He is the most, like, bland person on the planet. Like, a blade of grass has more personality than DSP. Like, that's just who he is. And it's like, what kind of documentary was this gonna really be? Like, how long could you really make a DSP documentary on that scale? That's not just gonna be him just sitting there talking, which he hyped up that he's gonna respond to the trolls and this and that, which he has never done. Not even in the June the King documentary that came out. So it was just not gonna happen anyway. But what did come out of it that people, I don't know if people wanted this, but everyone was talking about it. We got a cat reveal, a second cat reveal. Not that cat, the big cat, the wife cat. That cat came back, and we learned a lot about this second reveal of Cat. Because in 2018, she was like a different person. In 2018, she liked anime. She collected katanas. She liked K-pop and all this. Fast forward to 2024, and suddenly she doesn't like K-pop. She has never heard of it. She doesn't know what that is, and she doesn't watch anime. But she loves Persona still. That stayed the same. She likes Persona, but she just doesn't like anime. I don't know how that makes sense, but whatever. She watched the final season of Attack on Titan and was like, no thanks. I guess, but that's what happened with Kat. She just had these weird revisions to her previous answers, and somehow there was less chemistry between DSP and Kat in 2024 than there was in 2018. And I think what's funny to me is just the narrative of Kat over the years. If you go back to 2018, he was saying how much of a soulmate she is, how special of a person she is, and how happy she makes him, and this and that. Like in 2017, he said that she told him things that no one's ever told him before. All this weird, cringy nonsense. She games with him on 2018. Well, I say that very loosely because honestly, she just stood there like a prop, basically, looking at chat, and then got bored and left. And DSP decided to make that into a. It was Tevin's fault, even though I don't think it was anyone's fault because she told us that she was going to a party or she was leaving anyway. Like DSP told us that she wasn't there for the whole time, so it was complete nonsense anyway. But DSP is not gonna let a opportunity to be a victim pass him by, obviously. So we go from that, and DSP was saying how awful it was and how trolls bullied her and this and that, and he still sounded like he was caring for Kat. He felt bad for her for still having to go to work during the pandemic and this and that, which is again an easy opportunity for him to join the bandwagon of people expressing their sadness or whatever during the pandemic. I mean, DSP is a very opportunistic little piggy. But anyways, as the years go by, DSP starts to kind of paint a weird picture of Kat that it really made people get more negative to Kat than before. Because, again, before, the most negative thing people were kind of bringing up that people found out was, oh, she cheated on Subaru Man. And that's it. That's all people said. That was like, and honestly, that's just life. Shit like that always happens. So, you know, that's like the most that people talked about her with. But no one really, like, made fun of her intelligence, her body weight, or anything like that. But as the years go by, DSP starts saying that more stuff Kat's been using has been breaking. Vacuums, broken. The garbage disposal, broken. Things started to fall apart ever since Kat started to do things, supposedly. And a lot of people are like, wow, is she a fucking stupid person? Like, what's going on here? And I'm thinking, like, you know, the garbage disposal, plumbing, that kind of stuff, to a degree, I think that's out of the user's control. I'm sorry, people keep calling and it's always bullshit. See, it's bullshit. I'm not picking up. It's gonna be fucking nonsense. And I've recorded these fucking takes way too long, so you're getting the raw, uncut Theo, okay? Fucking shut up, phones. It's fucking bullshit. Anyways, I don't really fully blame Kat on a lot of stuff, because sometimes things just break and it's out of your control. The only thing about the garbage disposal that people bring up, or its food disposal, whatever, is that they probably did overfill that thing and fucked it up, because they probably put like a lot of like whole ass food in there and just like, okay, take care of it and you get what you get. So that's probably what's been going on with that, and that's just nonsense from both of them. Yet the reason I keep bringing this up is, even despite the things that are breaking, it's just both him and Kat have been very weird over the years. Like, I've never seen anyone over a span of time start to create a discourse about their mental health like DSP and Kat. Like, to put in perspective, the kind of stuff I've been seeing people discuss about these two is stuff that I would expect someone to talk about their, like, parent that's starting to get old. Like, when you start seeing your parents go into like their like 80s, 90s, and you start to see them kind of decline, you're like, you see their age, and you're gonna naturally think like, so like, what do you do? Like, I mean, this person can't do this anymore. They think that they're this now or whatever. Like, you start to see these kind of discussions happen a lot with the elderly. But I'm seeing that more with Kat and DSP, which is very odd because they're in, like, he's in his 40s, she's in her late, I want to say like mid 30s, because I think she's around my age. So I want to say mid 30s, maybe a little bit, maybe she's older than me. I don't know, whatever. But she's definitely in her 30s. And it's like the way that they're talking, it's like, is there something going on? Like, are they breathing in black mold? Like, are they living in a mold house? Are they living in The Last of Us in the house? Like, what's going on? So that's been going on, which is really weird, and it doesn't really help their case when we finally get a IRL stream with Kat, and she just kind of sits there again as a prop and just kind of like says a lot of weird stuff, like I'm thinking, like all this weird shit, just innocuous stuff at best. But then we finally get gameplay with Phil and Kat. Finally, they're gaming. They're gamers, guys. But what game do they play? Doko Island. That's the first game they decide to play, and the way DSP builds it up, like this kind of gave me some red flags. And it kind of explained to me why we're never gonna see Kat ever again, because he says that we're doing Doko Island because we're just gonna test the waters. We're gonna ease ourselves into doing this, and I'm thinking, how do you ease? Like, you're hanging out with your friend, right? You never hanged out with this guy before. Like, you just met him in school or wherever. Like, you're gonna invite him over. And you're gonna like shoot the shit, play some games. Do you just ease in, like? And the thing is, they have been living with each other for like 5 years, and they've both been seeing each other game before. Like, DSP posted that weird picture of him watching Kat play Overwatch or Ass Creed. I think it was Overwatch, and they had to ease in playing games together. Like that doesn't make sense to me. So that was like, one thing. But the Doko Island, why? And the other thing, all this was red flags to me, but you start to really notice something, right? After the Doko Island, the next game they were talking about, right? And people were saying, "Oh, are you gonna play River City Girls? A Way Out? It Takes Two? All these other games." And he said, "Oh, I'm considering River City Girls," which I knew he wasn't gonna fucking play because the game has game over states. Like, you can die in the game. Now, of course, it's a fucking beat 'em up. I mean, what? I mean, come on. But I'm sitting there thinking, yeah, he's not doing that because that's game overs, and it gave me like, I have two reasons to believe that DSP did not want to do any other game, because the next game that he ended up picking was Beyond Two Souls. Now, this definitely was a red flag. The game has a co-op mode. So you're thinking, okay, DSP's gonna do Beyond Two Souls co-op mode, right? Wrong. He already wanted to not even try the co-op mode. So he wants to do a co-op with Kat with Beyond Two Souls, but doesn't even want to do the co-op mode, because the way he wants to do it was that he was gonna play Elliot Page's character in Beyond Two Souls, and Kat was gonna play the ghost, which is very obvious why. Because the majority of the game you're playing as Elliot Page, and the ghost thing is like optional or very minimal in the game. They were gonna pass the controller, supposedly, whatever. Like, they weren't going to do co-op mode. Why? And it was gonna be this game, which has no game over, because when you die or lose or fail, it just takes you right back before you died or whatever. So it's not punishing or anything. Like, you're not gonna get this is how you don't play Beyond Two Souls in that kind of way. So it told me two things about DSP's opinion of Kat. First off, it's either because he watched her play other games, mind you. He watched her play Skyrim, and all these other games, etc., etc. So either he has no faith in her gamer skill that he wants to like kind of display for everyone to see, like he just doesn't want to deal with her awful gameplay. Secondly, he doesn't want the trolls to make this is how you don't plays of her. So of course he's gonna pick games or game modes where there's no issue of failing or dying or anything. Because the first game we get is on Doko Island. And this was something that also pissed me off a little bit. He hyped it up as, you're gonna see us build a island together. And this was a thing that I did a video about. Because how do you take a mode that's meant for you to kind of fuck around and build your own like mini game and just not do that? Not just have fun with it. What he ended up doing was having her basically play that mode for him to give him high rankings. That was the only thing that was going on. Like she was playing the game, and the whole time he's sitting there, was he talking to her, like shooting the shit? Was he like joking with her, hanging out? No. What ended up happening was him sitting in this awkward chair that really kind of sold the image of a mom playing a game for her son, helping her son beat a video game, basically, because she's sitting like in gamer mode and he's just sitting like this, and that's what it looked like. It was like really like he knew he didn't want to do this mode because it looked grindy and boring, and he's like, I don't want to fucking do this. Hey, Kat likes these things. She likes Animal Crossing, which is boring, which, by the way, all DSP did in Animal Crossing, from what I remember, was he just fished and catch bugs and, like, stared at a wall, basically, and walked around. That's all DSP did when he played Animal Crossing. Meanwhile, Kat did all of the meaningful stuff for the island. DSP did basically nothing and just walked in circles. So when Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth had that Doko Island thing, which was supposed to be like this game's version of the business minigame in Yakuza 7. I knew he wasn't gonna like give a fuck about this because it's a very like time investing mode. I didn't like it at all. I only did when I was forced to do it, and I just tried to like speed through it because I did not want to do that mode at all. I would much rather do the business minigame in Yakuza 7 than fucking the Doko Island. But he didn't want to do it. So obviously, he wanted Kat to play that mode for him because all he cared about was getting high rankings. And then once it was done, by the way, what DSP focused on when he talked about it was reaping the rewards. Every time you go to a Like a Dragon stream, and the only time he ever brings up the Doko Island was to say how he's reaping the rewards. So even the interaction with Kat on those streams are not even meaningful. If all that came out of it was DSP reaping the rewards of Doko Island, like there was no drive to continue, and I am not convinced there was health concerns as to why Kat can't be there on stream anymore. Because the thing was, at the end of the Dodoku shit, she got fucking bored. She just sat there and said, I can't take this, I want out. She was doing all... You looked at her, that throughout the whole stream, she was giving body language of a kid who just was bored. And you know, you could be mean to Kat about it, I guess, but at the end of the day, I think anyone would be bored in a room with this guy. I mean, that's probably what... I don't think Jatzer would get, like, fucking stir crazy because the door is closed. I think he'd just get bored out of his mind because DSP's a boring person. Watch the Dodoka streams. Tell me how much fun would you have if you're there in that room. You're holding the controller, you're playing Doko Island the whole time DSP's just sitting there like... we should get a high ranking, go there, right? Okay. We gotta do this thing, okay? We gotta get the locals happy, okay? Thanks for the $50 tip. That's gonna give us the glasses, but I'm not doing glasses tonight. Like, that's what it was, and I'm like, I don't blame Kat for being bored because DSP's a boring person. He just is, and he wasn't really interacting in any other way with Kat other than telling her what to do, basically, and having her play the game for him. Like, it really was like little Timmy couldn't beat a game and he had to go ask his parents to beat the game for him. So why would you want to stay in a room when she could be doing anything else and have more fun than being in a room, being forced to like be next to a dude who's boring as fuck and is doing his best to ignore that she's there. Like, it really came off as I think I said this in the video, that she was basically a prop for that stream. She wasn't a person. She wasn't there for any other reason than showing that she exists and to play the game for him. And that's it. There, if you took her out, if you just oh my god, that sounds very very out of context. If you just kind of like close your eyes, you probably wouldn't even notice she's there. Because she didn't say anything else. He wasn't saying anything to her that was anything meaningful. Like, it was very boring. Even as a viewer, like Kat was literally a visual representation of how it is to be a DSP viewer, or just a potential DSP viewer. Like, it was so obvious that this dude is a boring person, and Kat is there suffering, being there with him. And the cope for canceling Beyond Two Souls was, well, she's very busy at work, and we just have a lot of personal stuff going on. Like, I mean, we can't really like validate that claim, but again, the Doko streams don't help him in the least in the claim of anything else other than she got bored. I mean, she literally was like, she leaned all the way forward because she was bored as the phone fucking rings. Shut up! God damn! That's Kat saying, I love it here with Phil. How dare you say I'm bored out of my fucking mind? Okay. And you know, as I said back then, I wouldn't be surprised if she gained all that weight out of boredom, because he's a boring person. But then after that, look at the shift in games she plays. So she went from playing like Horizon, Ass Creed, Skyrim. She dropped Persona 3 because she has no taste and she got bored. And after that, she did nothing but play sim games. Now, to a degree, you could argue, well, she liked Animal Crossing, so that makes sense. But she has no interest in anything else? Like, she doesn't want to try other kinds of games. Like, they have Game Pass. Both of them have Game Pass. They don't share the sub, by the way. They're both paying individually their own Game Pass subscription. And she has nothing to play? Like, she could download Indiana Jones. She could download anything. And she is paying for that to play basically shovelware. So that to me is also kind of weird. And I complain about their takes, their what they watch. They watch like animal, like, there's nothing wrong with watching like animal documentaries. I mean, sometimes they can be fun when you're just, bored and you have nothing else to watch, but they don't watch anything else than that and cooking shows. And when you listen to like the stuff they watch, they basically watch reality TV. Meanwhile, DSP has shat on reality TV in the past. I talked about this way too much. I drone on about it, but that's why Kat's not playing games with him anymore, because she got bored. Basically, she got bored. And what else are you gonna do? They're not gonna play like, I know the people it takes Two's doing another game. I don't remember what it's called, but they're not doing that game. I know they're not doing it. I don't know why they're pretending that they are. They're not, because again, you could probably die in the game, and it probably requires a little bit more gameplay than just walking around and going through menus. So of course we can't have that possibly, because then the trolls may make fun of Kat how she plays video games, which is apparently the worst thing that could happen to you, because according to DSP, his life got ruined because people laughed at him for playing Metal Gear badly. I mean, guys, I freaked out at fucking Persona 3 tables, and people made fun of me for that. I guess my life is ruined, guys. I am bad at RPGs. I'm bad at fighting games. My life is over, guys. It's never been over as it has been before. So that's that. But the other thing that came out of Like a Dragon that we all enjoyed and we all loved was the random ass fucking rant that got triggered when DSP was bragging how, like, basically he played Like a Dragon, Event Wealth, and realized that he could relate to what's been going on with the main characters, that they're being slandered online, and they're taking stuff out of context, this and that. So he's going on and on about how it's just like him. Oh my god, dude, they're just like me for real, for real. And King Be Cruel had the audacity to say that was cringe, because apparently, if you say that it's cringe he's doing the meme, that warrants DSP to go on a fucking meltdown. Like, this to me was just like, what is happening? Like, why did this trigger such fucking rage? Like you would think that King Be Cruel said some heinous shit about his family, but all he said was, dude, this is cringe, my guy. And he got fucking pissed at that. And this is the guy that goes on about how everyone are a bunch of sissies and he has thick skin on the fucking snowflakes of the internet. And a dude said he was cringe and he stopped what he was doing to complain and rant. This dude's face, you already know the image I'm thinking about because it was an infamous image. I can't unsee it. It was so funny. And Meerkat did a supercut of that rant, and it was the best supercut of it. It was so funny. Because, dude, I've never seen anyone just freak out over the smallest of slights you could have. This dude was told worse things to his face, and he did not have this level of anger. Damn. And it kind of, to me, came off as he wants King Be Cruel to apologize. He wants to make King Be Cruel an example of, ban him, and then hope that King Be Cruel is gonna come crawling back. Because he wanted to get off. I guess he was very bored, and he was like, I need to get off to something. And his apologies are his biggest fetish, next to scat and food, and diapers. Apologies are right up there. That gets him off a lot. So he probably wanted that to happen again because he wasn't getting it from his wife. So he had to get it out somehow. So he took it out on King Be Cruel for some reason. And King Be Cruel moved on with his life. As everyone should. Because, dude, this rant was insane. He just stopped what he was doing to say, if you say, I'm factually based, eat it. Hey, King Bee, bitch, I'm gonna give you a spoon, and you can eat shit out my ass, and all those other weird shit. He got really fucking mad, and it was just so funny. This is why people poke and prod him. That was textbook example as to why he's a lol cow. Where it all began was in that one moment where someone uploaded hey, this is how you don't play Metal Gear Solid 2. And then he got mad about it. And then after that, people started to piss him off more because they would get weird ass rants like that. And that was textbook example of it. And he never really apologized for that rant either. Later on in 2024, he would have similar meltdowns, but he would try to damage control and apologize. He has yet to apologize about this, meaning he feels justified in freaking out over being called cringe. So that is insane to me, and that was one of my favorite moments of 2024. It was pivotal, and it kind of made the Kino Casino arc that kind of swerved that trajectory off course a little disappointing, because I wanted to see where 2024 would have gone if he was just left alone with his own devices. What else would we have gotten? And it seems now we're gonna have to wait even longer for that to come back, I guess. But that was the beginning of 2024, and it was a wild start. And people were wondering, is this gonna be a toxic year? Is it just gonna be negative to people? And it kind of wasn't, because I feel like that was the end of it, and then we entered a very hazy segment of his career where it was very it kind of reminded me of the time where it was around the Vest streak, a little bit maybe after that or around that time, where a lot of detractors started to slow down making videos, and it wasn't as prominent now. It wasn't there wasn't a lot to talk about, and he was just kind of boring. the most you'd get is him just raging at fighting games and that, or multiplayer games, and that's basically it. Because it all went around like tax stuff, chargeback, like, oh, what does PayPal see? Like, it was very like, you know, typical basic shit that people would kind of like talk about, but it wasn't anything like, guys, we need to talk about this right now. It's crazy, or anything like that. It wasn't like there wasn't a lot of stuff going on. And I would argue that if it just kept going like that, I don't think that we'd be seeing a lot of DSP detractor channels coming out of the woodwork, or anything. Like, I think he would have gotten his dream of being left alone. However, as it went on, he did start to do a lot of weird random rants that kind of got people interested into like talking about DSP more and more, and the cycle picked up again. Because he fumbled the ball a lot, and we got more nonsense from him. So, like, he was just there, and then he couldn't help himself, and he re-entered lolcowdom pipeline again, whatever. And 2024 was a more condensed version of that, where, like, March, May, July, like, around that period of time, it was kind of like, what really happened? He was being a tryhard in fighting games. He was bragging about how he's so good in Street Fighter 6. He tried to fit in as the phone rings, and I'm gonna say, shut up. God damn. Sorry, as I said, I've done so many takes, I ain't stopping and re-recording. Fuck that shit. You're getting the raw, uncut Theo. Okay? Deal with it. So yeah, it was a very boring, dull arc of DSP, just being a tryhard, trying to like come off as a cool guy. Like, he was trying to start beef with LTG, and yet failing to really come out other than a bitch. Like, dude, LTG kept saying no, and DSP was a stalker basically, like in his DMs. Come on, LTG, come on, let's fight, come on, let's do Street Fighter together. Come on, LTG's gonna be hype, it's gonna be hype. And he's like, dude, fuck off. And he's like, he said this guy's a bitch. And then we got from that to then my other favorite rant that DSP has done, within 2024 was the Anna Nicole Smith rant he had over Lolcow Live, because just purely off of how quickly he did a 180 on it, because he was saying that at this time he was still telling us Keem was making blood money, Keem is awful, he's a negative guy, and Boogie and Wings, they're gonna die because of the stunts that they're doing for Lolcow Live and all this other bullshit. Like, it all kind of wrapped up with his nonsense at the time as well. So he just had this huge random rant about this. And then come to find out, he finds himself on Kino Casino participating in drama content. And this lit the ass of DSP to start going down his own drama pipeline. He got Keemstar on his show, and from then, he loved Keem. Magically, Keem was an amazing guy, and somehow their beef was so infamous they had to squash it. That's how infamous it was. Like, Keem had to show up because they had such beef and they had to like deal with it. But all Keem was trying to do was get DSP to be on Lolcow Live, and honestly, Lolcow Live happened, and I to me, I'd argue it kind of came and went, and now people just kind of watch it because it's there or whatever. But it's really dull, and no one really cares for it in any meaningful way. And DSP is still kind of fixated on it by saying like, "Oh, it's scripted. It kind of is, kind of isn't, whatever kind of nonsense." But he was bragging about having Keem on his show, and Keem was really there for an agenda that didn't pan out for him and kind of backfired. And it was such a waste of time. But now suddenly Keem is a cool guy. He wished him well for Lolcow Live. Like that to me, signifies how fake DSP is. Like, if you've been paying attention with DSP, you know he's a fake person. This dude is two-faced about everything. And this has been the most like breakneck speed of him being like, this sucks. Actually, this guy's actually kind of cool, guys. We're friends now. We're bros. And it's like, dude, you kind of like insinuated that he was to blame for Etika's suicide and this and that. And it's like, dude, do you hear yourself? Like, does anything mean anything for you? So he goes on. So as he was doing the Keto Casino, the Keemstar thing, he gets Stuttering Craig to be on his show, and this is where you start to notice a trend for these interviews, and it's a very public version of his apology fetish. So as DSP gets off of the Keto Casino show, he does a special little rant for Craig and says, go okay, I want to have a little message for the side scrollers. Go fuck yourself. This is how you do a interview. You don't sabotage them and go on your show the next day and shit on them or whatever the fuck. And this and that. But then when he has Stuttering Craig on, this was, by the way, after the June the King documentary where DSP admitted he did play WWE Champions and it was his account, etc., etc., where he did blatantly lie to the side scrollers. So Craig shows up, and Craig is telling him, well, we felt hurt, and we thought you lied, and we felt that you did lie, and then you admitted you did lie to us. So I think you owe us an apology. And DSP was not having that. Because if there's one thing DSP fucking hates in life, other than, like, giving money to someone else or whatever the fuck, is having to apologize. Like a child. When a child has to apologize, they don't want to do it. Because they're a fucking child. They don't know better. And you have to kind of, like, teach them that they do need to apologize when they've done something wrong, or if they have offended someone or anything like that. Like, that's why you apologize. Because you generally feel bad for something you've done or that you've been found out or whatever. Now, obviously, an apology from DSP means nothing because the dude is fucking fake. I'll always go back and talk about the State of Decay 2 whenever I can, because that is the most blatantly offensive example of him not meaning anything he says. He goes on and says that he apologized for the tweet because that was his depression. His depression did this, and he apologized because of the hurt he caused or whatever the fuck. To then, a year later, and onwards, suddenly, he tells us that he was validated in what he said and everyone else was a bunch of bitches who took offense to it. And I'm like, but you apologized for it, and I thought that was your depression. But now, you're saying you only apologize to get it over with. Again, this is what children do. So, when Craig was telling him he needed to apologize, he was not having it because DSP wanted an apology. DSP was trying to get Craig to apologize for having a debriefing stream of them saying that they didn't believe what DSP was saying, which is subjective. I mean, you can say that it's unprofessional, but they weren't journalists. I mean, you can argue that, you can always say that a YouTuber who's doing an interview should at least be informed on who they're interviewing. Like there should be a degree of research and professionalism when it comes to the interview. But I also think that, it's fine for DSP to find offense or not be happy that they did a stream the next day shitting on him, I guess, or whatever. Like, he can feel that way. But at the same time, he also needs to understand that he lied to them and he should apologize. Like, what he really should have done, if he was 40 years old as he claims, he should have at least said, yeah, you're right, Craig, I did lie to you guys, and I am sorry I lied. I just didn't know what to show at the time because, it was, this and that. Like, he could have come up with an apology, and then he could, if he really wanted to, you could say sorry for lying to you guys, but I also think that you guys were also out of line for doing this, for doing a stream where it was supposed to be Mario Kart and you took the time to uh, shit on me or whatever. Like, that would be fine. I mean, it would be kind of silly, but at least it would be more well intentioned than just be like, okay, no, Craig, okay, you're being mean to me, and blah, blah, blah. Like, just doubling down on demanding an apology when you need to apologize as well. Like, it's just not a good look, and it's not how you handle a guest. On top of that, and then to like be offended that Craig told you to go fuck yourself when you told him to go fuck himself first. Like, you can't really do that, and then to fumble a hang up like that, it's like, who is this for? And honestly, if anyone wanted to be on his show, like, they could go to that interview and say, I don't want to be on this guy's show. This is how he acts. Fuck that. And then after that, he kind of hyped up the next interview as like, this one won't be drama. It's gonna be different. It's not gonna be like the Strike Craig one or the Keemstar one. It's gonna be like a little bit different. And it was Tolomeo, and yet with Tolomeo, it still kind of pivoted to drama, and it was still kind of like a very fascinating interview to watch because it shows just how little DSP really prepares for his own interviews, which he claims takes a lot of work. And I'm sure the a lot of work part is to iron out when they show up. But to some degree, you should at least know what you want to ask someone and then ask them on their show or whatever. Like, that's kind of what goes into it. But he's there and he's like he has no real path into what he wants to talk about, and then like the whole time he gives them word salads that are just not enjoyable to listen to. Like, there was a time where like DSP asked Tolo like 1,000 questions, then he was like, I don't know what you're asking. Can you or no, or was that June that said that? One of them was like they pretty much asked him to ask the question again and only ask like questions one at a time because he gives them so much nonsense. So his interviews kind of kind of flopped as well. And I talked about this in a video as well about his interviews and his politics show, which all kind of failed in a lot of ways. And then we also got the Kino Casino co-op streams, which were also pretty bad, to be honest, because they're all meme games. They played Chained Together, and then they played the Zombies mode of Call of Duty, and that was it. They weren't playing any other game. Like, he didn't want to do any meaningful co-op with them. Like, you think they're gonna play the Elden Ring DLC together? No. DSP did not want to play Street Fighter or Tekken with Andy because he doesn't want to, because he thinks he's gonna kick their ass. The same shit he said about starting Craig, which, like, and the same thing he said about community nights. I don't play Street Fighter because it's gonna be me kicking your ass or whatever. Meanwhile, this guy like cried about a dude coming to his lobby as a master rank. Like, at some point, why not just play random characters? Why not pick like characters you never played before, like Cammy? No, can't possibly do that. So it's kind of bullshit that he only wants to do co-op games with people that are like meme one-off games that aren't gonna commit to full playthroughs, and only multiplayer games if the opponent's like competent in that fighting game. Meanwhile, he played Brian in Street Fighter, and it was kind of like a whatever match. However, we got the gold dust of DSP calling one of Brian's friends a pattern player, and then like them calling him out for it. And like, no, I didn't say pattern. I was like, pattern style, corner lockdown play, man. Yeah, man. And he quickly shut up. Like, they had to like kind of get him to respond in the first place. Like, who's calling me a pattern player? And he's just immediately stopped talking. Like, it was very awkward. This dude cannot interact with anyone. Like, not even his wife. I mean, think about it. He streamed the only person on this planet he had any chemistry with that he talked with, John Rambo, the only man on the planet that got DSP to acknowledge that he's a dude next to him and talk to him as they played a game together. Meanwhile, he played with Panda Lee, and it was like Panda Lee was carrying the conversation a lot of the times. We got Kat, who just stood there in silence, and it was very dull for both people, because both DSP and Kat were both silent. And then you have him being silent with other people. Like, this dude cannot interact with anyone but John Rambo. He needs John Rambo in his life again in order for him to like talk to people. So the co-ops didn't really work out. And now we're doing this whole new stream setup. So we have LED lights now, or RGBs as he calls it. And that was honestly the gateway drug to getting other RGBs. We have a gaming PC that has RGBs, a fight stick that has RGBs, which also was a funny thing over the summer, where he went from the Cadillac of fighting sticks, which was the Quamba, to then migrate to the Rolls Royce, the Vectrix. Now, this dude falls for hype so easily. Of course, people who use these fight sticks love these fight sticks. You could find people who play hitboxes that will probably describe hitboxes the same way. And honestly, it's up to the person who's playing them in what you want. Like, I gravitate way more towards hitboxes because it really reduces my accidental jumps when I want a super, and it's more accurate in what I want. So I've been liking them. I'm using the Razer Hitsune right now, and I'm kind of thinking of moving to another one, another kind of hitbox kind of thing, but I'm not sure yet. I think I'm gonna stick with that for the most part, but I am debating moving on to a different kind of hitbox. But anyways, he just migrates to whatever he's hyped about, because oh, it's the buttons, I need the buttons, and he barely did any real research on how to mod a Quanba, because the Quanba has a very specific setup, and the way he was trying to take a Hori stick and just flat out put it into the Quanba without any regard as to where the buttons are located, because the Hori fight stick, the joystick part, was interacting with the button, which gave him weird inputs. And I was like, okay, if that's the case, why not just learn what people do with their Quanbas if they want to mod them, and then just do what they do? Because I think I've done very vague research about that, and I found people who've like talked about it, and some people even said, you don't need to change it because the joystick is perfect for what it is. Whatever. I mean, there's always different opinions. But then again, he has to do whatever is in his mind. But then he was like, oh, the Vectrix, I gotta get the Vectrix. He gets it, and it has RGBs, and he's like, I'm gonna change the Vectrix RGBs to be just like the LEDs, man. And he does that now with the gaming PC, and then when he bought the streaming PC, he said when he was buying parts, I don't care about the RGBs, and because this is like my business PC. He gets it, and then talks about the RGBs in the streaming PC anyway. And then he gets a new capture device, because the capture card could not fit in the streaming PC because he did not read about the motherboard he got, whatever. And even that has RGBs, which he said immediately, I don't care about the RGBs. The RGBs don't work though, but I don't care about them. Okay, got the RGBs working, man. Wow, that's pretty cool, man. So now he loves RGBs, and that's his entire office now. He gets a new mic, which he shat on Review Tech for having the same mic. I don't know if it's the exact same like type, but it is a Shure mic. They both have Shure mics. He shames Rich for having that, gets the same mic, has the mic positioned the same way, has a new mic arm that's in the frame just like Rich's, and his audio sounds worse. He went from a XLR connection to USB. I don't know if the Shure, like, maybe the quality for USB for a Shure mic is the same as XLR. I don't know. I did do research on saying like XLR versus USB, but again, I don't know if that takes into account that maybe Shure has different kind of USB technology. Maybe, I don't know. But from what I've seen is that there's more versatility with an XLR than RGB. Oh my Jesus, man, a USB mic. But the determining factor for DSP to stick with the USB, even though he said, well, if I use USB, I don't get to use these other features. But what won him over was, you guessed it, the RGBs. The RGBs in the mic only work with USB, supposedly. And same with the touch to mute, even though this dude has a Stream Deck that has a mute button. But he never uses it. The only thing he uses the Stream Deck for is to stop and start recordings. That's all he uses it for. Remember, he was hyping up he was going to use sound effects and clips. Still hasn't used them in any meaningful way. He has boomer ass like drum roll sound effects that his old ass soundbox had. And I'm like, my god, dude, you have a thing. You can get sound effects from the internet, and you choose to put sound effects that were in a toy. Make that make sense. It makes no sense. I have all these cool things. I have like Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul sound clips. I love the. I'll be honest. I do. You guys probably picked up on this if you watched my videos enough. I love the Chuck sound clips. I love using them when I can. I find any excuse to bring them up because they're so funny. He'll never change. What else? This chicanery. I am not crazy. I did not make a mistake. Like, they're so good. They're so good. Any excuse to use them, I use them, baby. I use them all the time. You know what? And actually, I'm gonna use them right now. The quality may be silly, but
I want you to speak the truth.
I just have to.
I am not crazy. He'll never change. What a sick joke.
That was my favorite.
What a sick joke. No, he orchestrated it.
I like this one. I had to cut out Jimmy because DSP's not called Jimmy or whatever, but I just think it's, you know what? That could be like when people try to press DSP about the mods and like the mods did nothing wrong and all this stuff. This is DSP talking about this about Jamal.
No, he orchestrated it.
He unbanned him. He did it. He orchestrated it. But I love the Chuck sound clips. But he doesn't use anything. He only does it to start and stop recording and to pause recording. And then when he got the new mic and he wanted to use the touch to mute, this was funny. He mutes it on the Stream Deck and then he mutes it again on the mic. And then when he unmutes on the Stream Deck, he forgot he did the push to mute on the mic. And I'm saying, like, if you're that conditioned to mute the mic on the Stream Deck, you don't need the mute button on the mic. And yet, to this day, as I'm recording this, he still has not used any button to mute the mic when it comes to clearing his throat, burping. And again, I'll give him when it's like an uncontrollable burp or whatever the fuck, but he still does the, into the mic. And I'm like, dude. And when he was having these mic problems, it was very funny, and I don't think anyone noticed it, but he moves the mic around, and yet he still leaned into the mic. Wherever he put it, it's as if he's drawn to the mic to burp into it. And the quality is still not good. It still drops in the middle of words. Phones still ring. Oh, it says it's spam. The caller ID now says this one is spam. In reality, all the numbers have been, in fact, spam numbers. Because none of them leave voicemails. If they're important enough, they are going to leave a voicemail, correct? But anyways, the quality is still bad. It's still bad. Maybe not as, like, the only thing that might have actually kind of improved is that it's not as, specific as the previous settings, and yet it still kind of cuts off things. Like, he was talking about music, and he cut the mute part, so you heard sick of what he's talking about. Because I think it's like about edited videos where he's gonna have, I was gonna have edited videos with voiceovers and sick. It's like, yeah, he meant music. It still does that shit, but the pure quality, it sounds kind of digitized a little bit. and it sounds bad. It kind of brought me back to I had a Razer mic at one point, and I think it sounded good for the time for like a second, but I got another mic that sounded better. Then I think I got this one because I think I have another mic that's like this, but it's not the same one. And I got that, and I got this one. This one's been pretty good. So, and this is using XLR, but he wants to use USB for the fucking features that nobody cares. This dude is obsessed with RGBs. He's addicted. It's a drug. And now when you look at it, it's just flashing colors and this and that. Like, if you're an epileptic, you can't watch his streams. And every other streamer, content creator, whatever that has LGB, oh my god, LEDs, I almost said LSDs. Yeah, these streamers with LSDs, with LEDs, they just pick one color and they keep it that. Or I've seen some people say that they sometimes would have contributors or whatever pick the colors, their viewers pick the colors or whatever. But I don't want that to happen with DSP either, because you know what's gonna happen. Okay, guys, I did have a poll on what color it's gonna be. Oh, if you're the typical, I'm gonna change the colors of the RGBs, and it's like, he doesn't need to do this. He could just pick a color. Like, we don't need these flashing colors, and especially, I'm sure you could tell the device what colors you want to flash between, but what he wants to do now is use AI, and all of the colors are bad. They don't stand out, they don't look that different, and they all look the same and crappy. And they're just not good. The RGBs are barely noticeable now. It's mostly white, it seems. Like, this flashing colors needs to go away. And it's not variety, it's just annoying. Like, again, he's done all these changes, and this is a textbook example of, you can change, but just because you've changed doesn't mean you change for the better. Because I guarantee, if you complain about this setup, he's gonna bring up, you guys asked for RGBs, you guys asked for a green screen. He kind of did that yesterday because someone was complaining that his arms are like cutting off and he has floating hands. And honestly, look, if people are gonna make if he's gonna be bullied into getting rid of that, that's gonna ruin life. That is the one thing that's kind of cool that he has going on. The one thing. Like, that's where we're at. The one thing that's cool about his streams is he has floating hands, and if we bully him, or if anyone else bullies him to change it or whatever, they're actually just they hate life. They hate life. I'm sorry. If you think that it's not funny or cool that he has floating hands, then you hate life. I'm sorry. Like, honestly, if there is a way for the Mac version of OBS and all this I use to do that, I would find a way to have only my head and hands floating, because I think that'd be kind of funny and cool. Like, just floating hands. Come on, who wouldn't think that would be cool? Like, to compare it to Mega 64 yet again. They used to do this podcast on Cyber Monday, and Rocco would wear like green screen like outfits, so that way like he would fade into the background or whatever. And I thought that was so funny, and it was so cool. And now we're gonna bully DSP to not do that? Come on now, dog. But that's what I would do. I would make sure that I'm like having weird things floating, and that'd be funny and cool. So it's like, that's where we're at. These small little windows of things. But if you tell him that these are too much and you long for when it was just the love seat, he's gonna shit on you for that. And it's like, again, when he takes feedback, he overcorrects, and he never like finds an actual moderate change. He claims he's Mr. Moderate and Mr. Moderation Man, but nothing he does is moderation. Look at his background. Is there anything moderate? It's so far in the other direction. I almost said LSDs again. LEDs everywhere. All these toys behind him. They're all flashing and just like doing this basically. And it's really what he complained about other people for doing, and that's not what even like. See, this is the thing that gets to me. This is the thing that keeps me up at night. He says that when he didn't have this stuff, oh, all these people, they have all these things to distract you. Like, they want you to be like kids with pixie sticks, or you're just constantly stimulated with all this stuff, man. And guess what? He's talking about himself. Because when he got this stuff, he's doing everything he's doing. He's basing it off of what other people do. And that's true to an extent, honestly, but it's also to his own visual of what he sees other people doing. Like, dude, he has all this stuff that's just doing this. And it's like, this is cool now. And he claims that what he has right now is a minimal set. I can't tell you how minimal it is compared to the previous. It looks the same. And it's just annoying. It's just visual annoyance. And it makes you, it's really like it's there to help the pignosis. If you're weak-minded enough, you're either going to be pignatized faster and more efficiently, or if you're already in a negative disposition, you're gonna hate him more. You're gonna be radicalized faster now because this thing is just this the whole time, and it's like, god damn, man, is that all you're gonna be doing with your backgrounds? And it serves nothing. Like, man, and it has no personality. His content still, after all this, is the textbook example of just because you have tools doesn't mean you're good with them. You could have the top of the line tablet. You could have the best tablet in the industry. If you don't have that talent or the skill to back it up, you wasted your money. Like, you need the skill for you to utilize what you have. He did not need all this shit to get to the same place he's already at. And you look at how he acted with this success with Kino Casino, and it's all superficial. Everything he has gotten is not even from him. The king meme didn't even come from DSP. It came from Kino Casino. And if you argue, well, he did call himself the king of hate in the past, guys. Yeah, but then he retired it. And he didn't know what to use the king for, so he didn't use it anymore. That's why you have Feasting with Phil and this and that. King only resurfaced because Kino Casino made it more normalized. And still, if you ask him what's the meme, he can't really tell you. So all of this is just nonsense and superficial to just give you the image of a successful streamer. This is really, you look at DSP and it's just in his mind what you think a streamer should be, or what a streamer is, when in reality a streamer is a person. Like, a titty streamer has more personality than what DSP has. Like, a titty streamer is more competent in what they do on a stream than what DSP does. And that's sad. Like, he got like $100, like he hit the goal or whatever the fuck, and he tried to do the like little the milking dance, I called it, and it was so phoned in. It was like, it was so robotic, and it's like, yeah, that's what this is now. So that was his 2024. Was it really a good year for him? No. Financially, sure, but not in reality, because it really just shows you how superficial he is and how much he'll drop you if it doesn't suit him anymore. Like, he fully embraced doing drama content for months on end because he saw benefit out of it, and once it was done, he dropped it to go back doing whatever he was doing. And that is not a good content creator. People should not be doing that. So it's very, very bad what DSP has become in the scope of things. And I think 2025 will just be a continuation of this superficial arc of his. He's just going to be the same guy that's trying to monetize the king as long as he possibly can. Like, In 2024, the beginning of it was him just throwing whatever at the wall and seeing what stuck, and it was still a mad dash. Like 2024 brought us the idea of bringing out toys for contributions and then doing a little dance like Wolverine, Wolverine, or like, guys, we hit the goal. And people voted for I guess she has guns in her hands. Pew pew pew. Like, that's what we were doing. That's what we were doing in the realm of DSP gaming. And it's like, who are you entertaining? He tells us that he's an adult entertainer, but look what he's even now. Is this what adults watch? No. And this is what he does. Again, nothing but superficial gains and superficial behavior from DSP, and it's just going to continue into 2025. So, let's see where this goes. Hopefully, something happens, I guess. Who knows? But it's just gonna continue. The superficial aspect of DSP's career is gonna keep on going, and the meaningful aspect of the Kino Casino arc is gone and faded. And it's just gonna be a corpse at this point. This wrestling podcast he wants to do with PPP is just gonna be him trying to dig up a corpse and putting a dress on it and having him do a little dance for us. And once that fades away, it's gonna go away. Just like the politics show. The politics show came. It was bad because he really did not understand what he was reading. Didn't have any other takes that were even thought provoking. Like, you can't even, like, he goes on and on about all these topics, and it's just, you don't gain a perspective. You either get the same perspective of an article that's being written, or you'll get oral. No, actually, that's not true, because he butchers a lot of the articles he reads. You'll just get a take that's just like what he thinks, and it has very little view of a grander picture of what's going on. Like, you can't just have an insulated picture of a lot of these political topics he wants to cover, because a lot of stuff like affects other people in other different ways, and he has no idea. Like, he doesn't know, and he's gonna be talking about this. Like, he's gonna talk about all this other stuff in this coming year. Like, he's waiting until Trump's inauguration, but there's all this stuff that's been already going on in the news. He doesn't want to talk about all his other stuff. I mean, by the time he talks about the Trump inauguration, it's gonna be outdated. But all his politics stuff was just very lazy ways to really shit on liberals. And it's like, it's not even like interesting. Like, I've seen people say like, oh, people think that universal healthcare is gonna work. Well, it won't work because, like, it's dumb. I've seen more compelling arguments about how libs are dumb by other people than what DSP was offering. It was really just, look at these liberals. They're freaking out. But when you really think about it, we've experienced Trump's first term, and there's been things that people have been critical about Trump's first term, and all this other stuff. There's been people critical about the cabinet picks that Trump has that are coming in with the Trump presidency, all this other stuff. And they can have an opinion about all this stuff. People can have multiple opinions on this. But when you do a political show, I think the worst thing you could possibly do is talk as if you're the smartest person in the room, and what you're saying is so smart that everyone will agree with you. Like, I understand that there's a lot of people that watch my videos that don't agree with me politically, and I'm not gonna try to tell other people how to live their life or what I think is the best way to live or anything. But I'm just saying what I think should be, and that's how it comes off. At least I hope it comes off that way. But when I was watching his politics show, it was just so arrogant and egotistical. Like, it really is summed up by the whole thing with his reaction to Jordan Neely's dad. That clip was unanimously shat on by everyone in the detractor community that comes either who's liberal, who's conservative, every which way. We all came together and said that was a bad take, bro, because it's just so arrogant and tone deaf. He's not listening to what his dad was saying or what was being talked about or anything. And I tried to convey in that video, and I think I did. I came across pretty well in the sense that if Diesel wanted to criticize the system, like, oh, the system did not help Jordan Neely enough or whatever, that could have been a good take to have. But he focused way more on just the people who are saying that Daniel Penny was in the wrong for what he did and this, that, and tried to say that that's wrong for people to say that because of this and that, because the system failed. But it's like, don't have that take. Like, just say that if your criticism is that the system wasn't there for Jordan Neely, that's the focus then, is that the system wasn't there and it's a tragedy what happened. Like, that's the take. But instead, DSP wanted to focus on how the other side who are grieving over their son's death and all this stuff, they're dumb and they're terrible people and they're the ones responsible. But you just criticize the system for failing Jordan Neely. I mean, Jordan Neely was in a very bad spot. Like, it's, all this stuff, all these factors. And DSP didn't care. He did not care about these other factors. And it comes off tone deaf and offensive. And if you're doing a political show, these are things you have to carefully try to understand what you're really saying or what you want to say. And if you misspeak, that happens, and you can either try to elaborate or move on. DSP is not capable of doing any of that, and it's not very surprising that the support and views have dwindled off of the politics show, because this is something that no one knew what they were asking for, and it's just not a good show. And I am now looking forward to seeing more of this politics show continue moving forward, and I do feel that the politics show is gonna die either if he does it monthly, March, May. Around that time is when because he's gonna do it, then he's gonna do maybe another one to test the waters, whatever. So March, April, May, like in that period of time, I think it's gonna die. Weekly, I think February. It's gonna be the final hurrah for the politics channel. And then he's going to use that to complain about how people asked him for years for this and that. Meanwhile, his actual politics show is just crap. It's just him reading articles and not even understanding what he's reading. Like, I've always said, I don't think this dude has good reading comprehension, let alone I don't think he can read. Because there's so many times he reads something and he either misreads the tone or takes it the completely wrong way. So he can't be doing this, and it just reeks of, I'm reading the article so you can't say I'm making it up or that I'm wrong. Like, he also read this one article, at least from what I came to understand, is that these were all like a developing story that happened over a few years or whatever, and it was like the Kia Boys or whatever. And this was a story that was developing over time, so you're gonna get multiple stories explaining this, and DSP acted as if this was a thing that was happening every day, and it's like, these are developing stories. That's why there's multiple articles on this. I mean, like, that's how it works, man. And that's where the politics show is gonna be heading. So I think it's not gonna last long. It's gonna die, and we're just gonna be left to doing gameplay content and whatever the fuck he's gonna be doing this year. And that's it. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know your favorite moments of DSP's 2024. And favorite could be anything. Like, do you like the rants about him telling people to eat shit out of his ass? Was it him building the gaming PC and ranting about his audience getting things wrong? Whatever. Feel free to let me know. And I hope to see you next time. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye.